and y'all showed up for a 2-minute presentation. So thank you very much for remembering that. Oh, sorry. Okay, so the next one is the citizens to be heard. And this is any citizen who has a question or concern. And actually, I'd probably like the council to kind of move up front so we can listen to it. If you don't mind, take the chairs and come up behind me. But again, like I said at the beginning of the presentation, we can listen, we can give factual information, we can give the ordinance that pertains to that question or concern, but we cannot take a vote today because it's not on the agenda, but we can put it on a future agenda item, okay? So, everything's on the table. Questions, concerns, compliments, just statements, we want to listen to you. This is your turn. So, and Mr. Roscoe is very interested in saying something. Go ahead.
Yes, if I can piggyback what the mayor said about the CPAC, we do have a police advisory group on Wednesday. Please come if you have questions about your police, about places in Young Valley that are troublesome and they're not. The chief is going to give a replay of what happened in 2024. But you have an opportunity to ask questions, not only about the police, but also what the compliance, the dog pounds and so forth. And the chief will be there to answer whatever. So please be there at 29th. And also, I would stay, but I'm going to my granddaughter's birthday party really quick, so yes.
Well, excuse you, just this once. Okay, thank you, Mr. Roscoe. All right, so the council, come on and sit down. And do you have any questions or concerns?
I'm sorry.
I saved it to the so I need to
your
email
left.
it to
Your
you.
left. There you go.
There we go. I had hearing something, but I
just wanted to tell
Mr.
you.
Power, good evening, good morning. I'm used to evening, right? Good morning and good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Take care.
The Canterfield neighborhood. I want to thank council, I want to thank especially the city staff, our first responders, and you, Mayor, for such a great town hall meeting. The other thing I'd like to remind all of us citizens is the city council doesn't vote on anything without our input. So the tree variances, the developments, we have several committees and commissions that make these decisions that rely on our input. These developments have been in the planning for years, and nobody ever showed up to those meetings except for a few people in the neighborhood to voice their concerns. We as a community have all the power. We have the ability to give them the input to sway their decisions.
Thank you. Excellent. All right. I would echo that. I'm Linda Bradford. I live in Castle Hills, right? I live in Castle Estates. Castle Estates, thank you. I wanted also to thank the Public Works. We had a huge issue with the water coming to our house, and Public Works came out and just did an amazing job. When we get permitted for our air conditioners that were, 32 years old, the people who came and helped us inspect it were just so professional and so courteous. A new business opened up, the District, which is a fantastic place. Please check it out. They rave about the city staff, the coordination, the economic development, and the ribbon cutting, and all the support from the mayor and the Earthwise Living Committee. And what I would say is that you don't just have to come here when there's a concern. That's good, but try to get involved, right? Be there when there are conversations about what is important to you, not just when there's some vote coming up, right? And find a way to be involved. Earthwise Living Day again, love for that. We need volunteers. Thank you, Linda.
Go ahead.
Yes. Marianne. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
I believe it is. Go ahead. Just need to get real close to it.
Yeah, my concern is the lighting in the parking lot at the library. If you park directly by the library building, it's fine. But if you park in the evening across from the library or on the the road into Public Works, there is no lighting. And it becomes a safety issue for not only the patrons, but for the employees. When they have to leave at 8 or 8:15 in the evening, they find it very difficult. It can be scary, to be honest with you. So that's just my concern, and I'm just curious whether something can be done.
Yes, we had another citizen ask that line this morning as well.
Thank you.
So noted. Thank you. Mr. Yarnell.
Good morning, Mayor. Thank you. I have a copy of the January 18th Express News, and one of the articles is Saw's eyes additional cash from legislature. And there's some kind of new program going on that they're going to request funding for. And my question is that something that we could also request funding for water infrastructure needs across our city?
The Texas Water Development Board, I know they've got grants that we're looking into, but Melinda, do you know anything about that?
Yes, that's the Texas Water Development Board, and they do have tons of grant funding, and so we've been exploring those grants as well. You know me, if there's free money, we're gonna get it.
Very good, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Campos, our city council member, used to work for SAWS, he's now retired, but he has something to say on that issue.
So you're right, that SAWS did make that request, but in the article, it's telling the community that when the legislature is addressing those water monies to be dedicated to projects, they're targeting smaller communities. And so they're bypassing some of the bigger water entities such as SAWS. And so I believe the way the article reads is that the SAWS is trying to say, hey, don't forget about us.
Yes.
And so, but our communities, the legislature are trying to address through different programs.
So we need to be in touch with our legislature. Ms. Gomez, good morning, or good afternoon.
Hi, good morning. I'm Amanda Gomez, and I live in the Morris Oaks community. And I wanted to share this with all of you because we are talking about the upcoming costs of our budgets, and many people seem to think that this bias that we have for development is the way to go, because so many other cities do it too. And I keep hearing that this new development is gonna take care of the problems going forward with the tax revenues, and that they will be able to sustain the financial increases that we're already witnessing. So I took time to do some research, and I looked at cities that are different sizes, that are different levels of development. And I seem to realize in looking at the budget items themselves. So this is an opinion, this is me looking in detail at the budgets of these communities for the last several years. And the most obvious is Houston. It's a big city, a lot of development. In fact, they're at the end of their development. And they should be reaping in all of these tax revenues from development. But in fact, this year, they find themselves at a deficit of 5.8%. And what does that mean? $160 million. They're in debt. And they're not broke, but they're trying to figure out how to make up that money. They're at the end of the development. Then we have Pearland, a much smaller community, much smaller, right outside Houston, and they're starting to slow down on their development. So they're also reaping great monies from the development. This 2025 proposed budget, they had revenues of $57,936,863. That's a lot of money coming in from those revenues. But their expenditures for this same year, $59,909,947. So they're already hitting a debt of $1,973.34. And so what they're proposing is a proposed tax increase of 0.06. And their budget for this year that they've adopted is $123 million budget. Now you're thinking, okay, but that's been going up over the years, right? No, these increases in their budgets have occurred within the last 3 years. Okay? Then we look at Marvin. Marvin is also a small community, a suburb out of Houston, and they got a lot of land. And what's happening, these people that are living in Houston, they're starting to trickle down to these smaller communities. They want better homes. They don't want to live in the sprawls of Houston. So Marvin is experiencing a lot of land development. And their total revenues just this year were $129,717,413. Those are in Adam tax revenues. But their expenditures have also gone up significantly. Their expenditures for this year are going to be $129,656,731. And the devil is in the details. So you go and you look at their budgets, and you see where these line items have ballooned. So they have line items that have gone up 6 times. They have, in Maryland alone, they have 24 new hires for increases in city personnel, public works, service planning, code enforcement, and added police. In particular, is the capital outlays. That's one of the biggest expenditures where all kinds of costs are hidden. That went up, but I want you to listen to this closely. In 2021, that expense was $5,307,881. In 2024, we're just talking about 4 years difference. That new cost is $97,182,418. And their new budget, they're already telling their community that they're going to include what they're participating will be the tax revenues of this new development. And so, whether you're looking at cities that have finished their development, or somewhere in the middle of the development, or going gangbusters, you're going to see their budgets balloon too. And so these profits that were coming, they're not sustainable. So we as a community have to start thinking about just exactly what can we expect from this money coming in from development, and how long are they going to last, and what can we do as a community to start investing within our own community, because those are the solutions I'm finding what the other cities are doing. How can we make our community a more desirable area so people want to move here? So
Thank you, Ms. Lewis.
businesses
I appreciate your comments. I think we're all getting the message that development brings maybe increased revenue, but we also have increased expenses.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for those examples. We do appreciate that. Okay. Anyone else? Oh, Elaine. Yes.
Hello, my name is Elaine Valdez.
Pavona Place.
I live in Pavona Place. I would like to compliment the city staff on their prompt responses to concerns that have been reported using the website's online complaint form. It's an outstanding resource which allows anyone to make reports to improve our safety, improve the appearance of our city, and quality of life. I have one other topic. Several questions. Is the city of Leon Valley state that they are the property of the U.S. Postal Service? Does the city of Leon Valley have any relationship, communication with the U.S. Postal Service, specifically when new housing projects are approved? Does the U.S. Postal Service dictate to the developers that they must use cluster boxes, or do they have the option of individual mail receptacles at home? Are the developers being required to assume responsibility for the maintenance of cluster boxes and passing that responsibility
You know
on to
that
the
cluster boxes.
HOA?
Okay. Here we go. Let's the last one.
Yeah, so does Leon Valley have suggestions on how to resolve these repair issues and prevent and discourage future break-ins?
Have cluster boxes. They're low on mailmen, and so they can't be going home to home like they used to. So new developments have cluster boxes. We're not the only one facing that problem. Julian Castro put out a letter. He was asking the same question because it is the responsibility of the Postal Service. We've dealt with this along the way. And so if you want it fixed right away, unfortunately, your HOA should have to budget for it and get it repaired. And if if you want it done right away. You can file a claim with the US Postal Service. They eventually will get to them, but they're seeing a wait list of up to a year to 2 years on some of those. But it's working with the federal government and getting items replaced and fixed. We had an apartment complex that had theirs down for almost 2 years. And so the best bet, and what I've been telling people that have cluster boxes, is it should be a line item in your budget in order to replace the boxes. The other thing is we have approached the HOAs in the past about installing cameras. We have caught people that have been breaking in into mailboxes across the city, and the chief can go into detail with that, but we have caught people breaking in. And so cameras, high definition cameras that can catch license plates and individuals are very, very helpful. Lighting at your postal areas is very helpful. We're in this weird balance because we hear that we want lighting at the library, we need lighting for security, but then we're hearing lights out, right? So we have all of these balances as a government, as your government entity you're trying to accomplish. So, but those are some ideas for you in order to kind of get that accomplished. You're welcome.
Okay, Mr. Perry, go ahead. It's gotta be real close to it.
A few years ago, Mayor Riley and I were speaking at the end of my driveway, which is right at an intersection on Rue Francois in Castle Estates. And there's a stop sign there, and a car just flew right through the intersection. And she was instrumental in stop signs with the blinking lights on. That has not really made any difference, unfortunately. But here and there, I'll say something to someone who's gone through the stop sign, and they sort of want to take my head off. So I would like to just put it out there that probably a sensible approach is for the city to maybe use the white stripes on the pavement at the stop sign, which really kind of forces the issue of stopping. And it's a really low-cost way to go about giving something else a try. And because there's over 100 cars a day, I would suspect they go through that stop sign right in front of my house. And when I see a car coming in either direction, I just wait for them to go through, because I have pulled into the intersection before and somebody's running the stop sign while I'm right there. So whoever could be a part of that happening, it would really be appreciated.
It's so noted, thank you. We yell at them on Forest Way. Stop! Stop going! Stop speeding! Stop going for a stop sign. It's a never-ending problem. Yes. Oh, Duke, how are you?
Good, thank
All
you.
right.
Duke Joseph, 40-year resident, taxpayer, Leon Valley. And I want to thank the city council and the mayor for all their hard work and research. I have concerns about the tax, 20% and the homeowners deal, because I'm familiar with the county and they've done that. Now the state has done that. And my understanding is Leon Valley did that as well. I'm not 100%. Now I'm perfectly willing to give up the 20% back to Leon Valley because, for funding reasons. Now, the homeowners exemption for 65 and older, that's like telling new residents, if you're old, we don't want you. Now, I don't agree with that. I think that should be, kept and bring it to the election. Let's see what the population thinks. Thank you for your time, and thank you for calling.
Thank you. Well, it was interesting because I don't know if y'all followed the election in May of last year, but the city of Terrell Hills had this election on. Should seniors get a free 65 and over? And they voted no. It has to be voted on. Not all suburban cities, not even the city of San Antonio has this freeze. So it's individual municipalities that have to vote on it. So ours came in right back in 2005, a long time ago. and we've had it since then. So anyway, but I thought that was interesting that the city of Terrell Hills voted it down. Okay, anyone else? Oh, hello. And would you state your name and where you reside?
Yes, my name is Arthur. I reside on Old Mill.
Yes, sir.
And, yeah,
Yes.
yes.
Rensselaer.
Yeah,
Hi,
yes.
Mr. Rensselaer. How are you?
I'm doing fine.
Good,
Thank you.
thank you.
I want to thank Dr. Caldera, you yourself, and city leadership here, emergency service here, for conducting this informative meeting. And they are doing a great job. And heads up, end up job. But my main concern here is the funding and everything. We're kind of scrambling to supplement our city services and stuff like that. And here's just something to throw out. I've seen and been to a lot of these gymnasiums that they hold these tournaments for volleyball and basketball, and you should see the turnout for these games, these tournaments, and also they're rented out during practice and everything. The only drawback to that is the parking. You have additional parking, but you can charge for parking on that, and those are money makers. Build it and they will come. My niece plays in these. They go out to outside of Converse and all over the place, all over the state, and it's very hard to find a seat when you're seeing these games, and they're something that maybe you should take a look into, and maybe the city might want to invest in something like that, because they're, like I said, build it and they will come, and the only problem is parking, because you have so many people coming to this. And another thing, as far as I want to piggyback on what that gentleman said about the 65, the tax freezes. Everybody knows it's no big secret. We're paying a lot of money, for groceries and everything else across the board. And you're hopefully by that time you have your house paid off. But for those that do have their house paid off and everything, I'm very fortunate to have, and I'm just right around the corner from 65. I would like to enjoy that extra money and maybe save it to travel and stuff like that, as well as continuing to pay these taxes and stuff like that. I'm sure the folks that are here that are over 65 came for that very reason here, because of how it would affect them. So, us current residents that are not quite there, but right on the cusp, would like to enjoy that also. Thank you.
Very good, thank you, appreciate it. Yes, Mr. Bridger.
Again, for his comments, and I feel like a lot of people reached out to me and came here because of those questions at the end, the tax cut or tax freeze for 65 plus, and the 20% homestead exemption. And so I just wanted to kind of clear the air. You saw the last slide, it said it was about $300,000 affected for the 20%, and about $300,000 affected by 65 over plus. So you add them together, it's over $600,000. And it all kind of goes together. These developments that are in the city, all these developments that are coming in, 500 homes. If you look at the taxes that are coming from that, this is not factual. This is Councilor Bradshaw's estimations. If you take the home value of $350,000 at average times 500, and the sales tax that generated is going to be over $800,000 per year for the city. So that will supplant the tax increase. Show of hands, who likes to pay taxes? So that's kind of the situation the city council's in. There's all kinds of arguments about the trees and the deer and all these things, and we definitely take those things into consideration. But we're also coming up in a few years, the red light camera funds are going to go away. That fund a lot of the police department, so that goes away. We need ways to fund that. So I like that there's ideas, other ways to generate revenue for the city, and maybe instead of all the questions we had at the beginning of, what are the things you guys want to buy? All the projects. Here's what we want to buy. We need to come up with what should we cut, right? We need to mention that. We need to start looking at ways to save money for the city and what programs do we need to cut out. We've already mentioned one of the pools, the cost of that. So that's one of the decisions.
Appreciate it. Yes, Ms. Hirsch.
I'm Beth Hirsch from Center Fed Estates. I have two comments. One is a compliment for the Public Works Department, particularly the guys that work in the park. I am just amazed every weekend. That park is so full. Everything is full. And I love the way that they have so many softball tournaments. and I've seen the work that Public Works puts in to prepare that field before every tournament. So I think that's a great benefit, and we're bringing a lot of non-Leon Valley people into Leon Valley to take advantage of our parks. So I think our park is one of our best attributes that we have, whether it's the walking trail or, you know, the playgrounds are amazing and everything is really wonderful in the park, except the dead trees, but we're working on that, I know. My other comment is, and I know I've spoken to the chief of police, is the intersection of Seneca and Handsome Lake and the traffic that has just ballooned there as people cut across Seneca to get out onto Bandera. And I've also noticed that the light cycles on Bandera and Seneca change in the afternoon, and the Seneca traffic gets much shorter times and they have to wait much longer to interrupt the Bandera traffic, but it makes the traffic line go way down Seneca, and it's really difficult because we have cars parked on both sides of the street on Handsome Lake, and you're trying to hope that people stop and leave the intersection open. So that intersection really needs some attention. And it also needs attention by having police officers there more frequently. I've seen a little bit of an increase, and that's been nice because everybody runs that stop sign. Everybody rolls through that stop sign on Seneca, and they don't care. And the people coming out of QT don't care that you're already on Seneca and you have the right of way. So the traffic there really needs some attention and especially some enforcement. Thank you.
Thank you for those concerns, Will be so noted. All right, yes.
Hello, Lalani
Where
Mercado
are you?
good.
Adair?
Althea and Hodges.
Althea and Hodges, that's right.
Yes.
Adair is up there.
Yeah, so, 4 things. Red light camera tickets, last town hall, we were told, don't worry about them. If you got one, don't have to pay it. Is that still?
We will never tell you not to. I will never tell you not to pay a
Right.
red light camera ticket. Other people may tell you that.
They're just not enforceable. That's basically the problem.
State law.
Got it. We are still seeing on Althea and Hodges a lot of wrong way drivers. They actually ran into the beautiful things that Public Works, thank you Melinda, you put up these traffic delineators. They knocked them over, they've knocked down the stop sign, so it still hasn't really stopped anyone or discouraged anyone from going down the wrong way. So if we could look into that. Also the overgrown area behind Althea that's going, I guess it was gonna be a soccer field, or there started to be some movement in that area. It's off of Evers behind Althea. Now it's just overgrown. Somebody had cut it and it looked really nice, and they put some soccer equipment, I
Is
guess.
that in the city of
San Antonio.
San Antonio? That's what I was thinking.
Behind
As you were
Althea?
telling me that, I said, I don't think that's Leon Valley.
It's not. But we can send a message to,
To the District 7. Uh-oh. Really, yeah, we're wrong.
Melinda knows.
Okay, where is it now?
Right. So if you're on Althea and trying to take a left-hand turn up Evers towards Route 410, it's on the left-hand side. There's a vacant lot there with a big chain link fence across it and a big gate. And they have turned that into a soccer field. I don't know if they're permitted it, I don't know what, but I was driving down there the other day and I saw it.
Okay, that's news to me. Wow, it's by the, it's by the,
or what.
Yeah, I'll figure out what The other thing real quick, we have a park master plan on our city's website that I'm looking for public comment on before I take it to city council. So if you guys could get on there, read the plan, and let me know if you have any comments on it.
Okay, very good park master plan. Thank you for bringing that to our attention.
That would make a good park, by the way, right behind that area. And then, HEB. I live right behind HEB in that, in the 2 blocks of houses, Althea and Hodges. And HEB is an eyesore. Whoever the owners are of that whole arrangement. First of all, thank you Chick-fil-A and thank you storage unit that came in. I think they're City of San Antonio, but they look beautiful and they're well maintained. But the things on Leon Valley side, which is the HEB and that whole marketplace, is trash. It looks horrible. It's always dirty. There's tons of homeless people. The green belt alongside that area as well is very dirty. And so my ask is for cleanup. I know we're
we're limited on staff, but, well, the owner should be doing it, they should, but not gonna happen till then. Because HEB owns land.
So what you're talking about is Zarzamora Creek, and it does make HEB look trashy. We don't own Zarzamora Creek. That is privately owned by a defunct corporation. We send letters, they come back unclaimed, we send out public notice, and then we go cut it. Unfortunately, I can't take all the homeless people out of there every single day. We have the Basura Bash coming up, and we will be cleaning that creek for Basura Bash. And now Roque has started talking with HEB and with the two businesses in front, and I think we're all trying to come together to share the cost of cleaning it because it costs a ton of money to do so. The other part of Zarzamora Creek downstream where we had the old Chacha's Cafe, that was also a huge problem. City council gave us money to go in and clean it up. We did so, it is now back trashed again because that seems to be where the homeless people are congregating. So the mayor and city council got together with Habitat for Hope, sorry. And so they're working on trying to get these homeless people housed again. And once they can accomplish that goal, I think they've contacted 25 people so far. So we're working on the homeless problem. The problem is we still don't own that creek. So one of the suggestions that we as Public Works have is to come to city council and say, hey, can we finally condemn that piece of property so that the city owns it? I know it's a huge financial risk for the city because then we're gonna be responsible for cleaning it up all the time. So it's something y'all are gonna have to weigh.
Yes. Tell me what you want me to do and I'll.
Thanks for that information.
I'm Sabrina, I am
Yes,
council.
Mr. Salinas, go ahead, you wanna give us an update?
I'm Greg, and I am for the council next month about it. We have talked to HEB, just so you know, HEB doesn't own any land over there, they lease. And so they are also asking the property owner, they have the same concern that you have, so they already reached out to us, it's the same thing with the school and the businesses behind that, so, pending some things, we should hopefully bring some items for you all to consider in the February meeting, but we know it's an issue, it's an ongoing issue, but we're working with Golden on that as well.
Thanks for that. Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm David Moran, I live Evening Sun Street. So, 3 years ago, at the end of this month, will be my anniversary of how long I've been in Leon Valley. I moved in from out of state, and I lucked out because I bought my house through my realtor doing a home tour type thing, remote. So I never saw the house until I opened the door. And I am so happy. I mean, if I'm here speaking and giving a hard time sometimes, it's because you guys are approachable.
Okay.
And
I was gonna say, did you know you lived in Leon Valley when you bought your house? Neither did I, so it was the best mistake I ever made. That's what I always say.
Right?
Yeah.
And the thing is that you guys are approachable. I commend you for having these kind of meetings, open to the public, open to us being able to speak to you, you're available. And I love being able to call into you guys and somebody picks up the phone. But what I definitely want to compliment you on is your fire and police response. A week and a half ago, I was ready to go out to go to the mail to the U.S. Post Office, and I saw some smoke over the rooftops. I thought it was from the park. From my point, it looked like it was coming from the park. I thought it was a grass fire. So I called 911. They picked up the phone. I don't know if it was a Leon Valley operator or if it was a 911 operator. Yeah,
Bear County Dispatch.
Bear County. So the lady on the phone asked me, are you calling about the house fire? And I said, no, I'm looking over rooftops. So I'm seeing trees and rooftops. I don't know the source of the smoke. She goes, what color smoke is it? And I said, it's white and brown. She goes, okay. Well, I looked at my phone log, and within 4 minutes, you had the whole fire department and the whole police department parked already there. They responded within 4 minutes.
Okay, that's what I like to hear.
I think with the AFP, the AFP, their goal is to respond in 5 minutes. Just respond. To send a unit. You guys sent everything. And I'm really proud of you guys. Thank you so much for being so small town, and love it.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Chief. And thank you, Police and Fire. Yes, you bet. Judy.
Good afternoon. I just want to comment on that because that fire was on my street. That was the second house on that street in a year's time. The fire chief has been fantastic. He gave us all a lot of information. But I want to pass something else along to you because whatever the cause of the fire was, we all live in homes that are about at least 50 years old, unless you're in one of the newly developed areas. I have had my electrical outlets checked at least twice by a licensed electrician, not your buddy, not somebody just a licensed electrician. And every time I've had that done, they've replaced at least 2 outlets that weren't ground properly. And if we can, each one of us do that to our own homes, we might help prevent our own home from going up, because it's not fun. The one house that burned down a year ago, they still haven't been able to move back in. The house is still under construction. And the other one, she uses a walker, and that's her home. And who knows how long it's gonna be. If you can do some preventive stuff in your own house, thank you. And good luck to all of us.
So it wasn't an issue between aluminum wiring versus copper wiring?
I don't know, but I do know the owner had told me, she said there was a puff of smoke from behind my couch, and then there was flames. So I don't know what the fuck that was about, but it doesn't hurt. It costs about $125 to have the electrician come out.
Thank you for that message. Safety first. Yes, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Riley and the council, I appreciate everything you guys have done. I appreciate the opportunities that you give us to come talk. One of my concerns was, first of all, I would like to.
Could you state your name?
This is Dion, I'm on the Seneca area.
Seneca, thank you.
I would like to also thank all the first responders, because a couple of years ago, about 30 years ago, my daughter, I thought she was just playing around. I was paying bills and she was playing around, and she was gurgling, and I thought, okay, she's laughing and stuff because she was doing some stuff. Well, I turned around, she was turning purple. She was not blue, she was purple. I called 911, the Leon Valley, and I could not for the world remember my address. I could not remember. I just kept saying, I live on my street. I said, I live on Crown Peace. I couldn't remember. She goes, ma'am, just calm down. She says, calm down. She goes, before I knew it, I had the firefighters, I had the policemen, and I had the ambulance there. I had them all there. EMS was all there. I mean, in no time they were there. And they will always be at the top of the line.
There you go.
And stuff. But I do want to thank you for that. I also want to thank you for the firefighters. And when we moved in 35 years ago, they came into our house and they welcomed us, and they brought us a little fire extinguisher, and they brought us the fire alarm and everything. They came to check the house, and they said, okay, we came to check the house because we want to welcome you to the neighborhood. And they checked the house, and they told us, you need one here, you need one. They gave us one, and they said, this is a good place to have one here. I don't know if that program is still available or not, but that was something. And I told, we have new neighbors right in front of us, 2 new young couples, and another one that is fixing to sell on the right-hand side. So I'm always bragging about everything that's going on. But unfortunately today, I had a list of why I didn't want you to raise up my taxes and stuff, but I did want to give kudos to the fire department, all the first responders, and also Public Works. They do an extremely good job. The park, after the parties and everything on 4th of July, it's clean the next day. You can't even tell that has happened. So thank you all for doing that. And yes, that was a good hook to get all our senior citizens here. But I also want to consider that don't do that to the ones that are younger than 65. Because what's going to happen, they're going to live here in Leon Valley, and then we're going to have a lot of empty houses as they turn 65, because they can go to San Antonio or any other places to go get that savings and stuff. So that's another thing to consider. So, but thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for having us.
The city doesn't have the 65 voting. They didn't vote on it. Yeah. Yes, I'm sorry, Mr. Martinez.
One thing about the houses in Leon Valley, a lot of them were made in the 70s and are wired with aluminum wire. You can use Novox. It's a gel that you can put on the plugs, or you can go down to Home Depot or Lowe's and buy plugs that are made for either copper or aluminum wiring. But you can't just buy a copper only plug and hook it up to an aluminum wire without using the Novox. Otherwise, it will cause a problem and it will be a fire hazard. So, you can do this yourself. If you own your house, you can replace plugs and switches and stuff.
Thank you so much. All right, yes.
Hi, Mayor. I just have a couple of online
You bet.
citizens here. Ms. Alma La Fuente, I would like to know how are you going to control the traffic on the corner of Seneca and Evers and four-way stop with all the new homes being built, as if we didn't have total traffic already? Are they going to install a light in the intersection? Just wondering how that is going to play out. And that does kind of tie into Mr. David Moran's question during that, when he asked about traffic with the housing developments. And some of the things that I've been talking to the council about is doing a new traffic study once all the homes go in. And so once all the homes go in, I do have a feeling we'll have enough peak traffic counts there that will probably require some traffic calming measures to take place in those generators. Right now, the numbers are not showing it, but I think in the future they will. The next comment is, how about fixing some of the streets? How about some code enforcement regarding home-based businesses, residential yards and alleys overgrown, crowded residential streets with 5 and 6 cars parked on both sides of the street? And where are the police? I have not seen a police car in my neighborhood in months except at the restaurant.
Was there a name associated with that?
I don't want to mispronounce it, but it's Alinda Mahan, M-A-H-A-N.
Thank you. I just want to make a note of it.
And then we need sidewalks on Evers Road. And I think that's it, other than me apologizing for the feed that continued to go out while people were watching photos.
All right, I don't see any other hands. Oh, yes. Hi, John. How are you? Good to see you. Welcome.
Very briefly, I wanted to share in this particular.
If you'll say your name and where you live, I know where you are. John Hall in Canfield.
I live in a house that was born the same year I was, so over in Canada. At this time last year in the town hall, 52 weeks ago, I made a brief suggestion about the e-news, and it took the city a grand total of 1 week to fix that this time last year. So thank you again. Thanks to the city staff for waking up Ozark 100 on a Saturday morning. And volunteerism is alive and well in America, so the quiet folks in here who serve on all the committees and all of the, city council. So just thank you very much. And my one comment is, if we don't have clean water, none of this else really matters.
That's true. That is so true. Thank you, John. All right. Oh, Ruth Fernandez. Good afternoon and welcome.
I just have one comment to make. I've written things and I'll keep communicating with people. Can you hear me?
No.
No, just you gotta be real close to that mic.
Okay.
There you
I
go.
said I just have one comment or question to say right now. And I have other things that I'm going to continue to communicate about. But I've heard it mentioned more than one time today that we're going to have to do some new traffic studies. But when we were considering putting in all the new homes, we did traffic studies. And according to those reports, we were not going to have any problems. It was not going to affect the traffic. But now that we're going to build the 500 plus homes, we're going to have to pay for another traffic study. And we'll see what those results tell us. Hopefully, they will satisfy the majority of the people that live in the community. And overall, I love living in Leon Valley. That's not the problem. It's in the details, as somebody said earlier. it's in the details. What are we doing? She shouldn't have to go look to see what other cities similar to us are doing. That's our job. That's the council's job and the staff's job. And I love you all and admire you all for everything you do. But you're not supposed to make a decision that isn't informed. So please, anybody that's going to run, please, I encourage you to do so. And to serve on committees, please do so. But please do your homework. We're not interested in your impressions. As a citizen who lives here, I don't want to hear your impressions. We all have wonderful, diverse impressions. We've got to get down to the details. Okay, so thank you for what you do and go Leon Valley.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that comment. All right. Is that it? Anybody else we want to hear from you? This is it. I can't believe it's almost 1:15. You're awesome. Take a donut before you leave. Okay. Well, if there are no further questions, then we move to adjourn without objection at 1:14 on Saturday, January 25th. Thank y'all so much for being here, and more importantly, thank you for staying, because I know a lot of people went ahead and left earlier. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.